Hey y'all, welcome back to Carefully Speaking. I'm Dr. Jamila Brown, your host, and if you are new here, this is where we talk about centering the well-being of individuals, families, and communities, especially those who don't always get the support they deserve. So we are well into the month of April. Today is actually April the 6th, and that means that we are already 1/3 of the way into 2025. Wow. Honestly, that time went by fast, but this month feels like one of those times where life is telling me to hit the pause button and to stop and pay attention. Yeah, it feels like a time when we are all being called to really think about how certain issues are showing up in our lives, but not only in our lives, but also in the lives of the people around us, right? And April really has a lot going on in terms of awareness, right? And it all hits kind of close to home. So in April, we've got National Stress Awareness Month. We've got National Minority Health Month. And we also acknowledge Black Maternal Health Week, which runs from April the 11th until April the 17th. And so I figured that since this month has so much going on, and this is not even an exhaustive list of themes, there are many others, but these are the three that I'm choosing to highlight for the purposes of this podcast. And so I decided to turn this into a multi-part series and just dig deeply into each of these themes together. So today is the first of 3 episodes in this April Awareness series. And today I want to start by setting the stage. So I want to talk about why each of these observances matter and really take some time to honor the healers that are among all of us. All right, so let's get into it. So I want to start this segment with a quote from Eckhart Tolle, who is a spiritual teacher and an author who is well known for his insights on mindfulness and personal transformation. And the quote says this: "Awareness is the greatest agent for change." And I highlight this quote because April is a month of awareness. It's one of those months that makes you stop and smell the roses, literally. It's like, hey, we're out here just blooming and stuff, right? And we're all moving around throughout the year, but suddenly we're reminded of how much we really have to take care of ourselves and each other. And so first off, I want to talk about Stress Awareness Month. All right, listen, we all know stress, unfortunately, right? It's practically a constant presence in many of our lives these days. And according to the American Psychological Association, the APA, about 77% of people say that stress affects them physically. And 73% say it's messing with them mentally. So that's a whole lot of us out here feeling way down, okay? And it doesn't just stay in our heads, no. It becomes physiological symptoms, stuff like high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, all kinds of mental health issues. So this month is really just a reminder to pay attention when stress is showing up in your life. Pay attention to how your body is processing stress and figure out some ways to manage it without letting it take over. And next up is National Minority Health Month. Now, this one is huge because it's about recognizing the health disparities that still exist for racial and ethnic minority groups. For example, Black adults are 60% more likely to have diabetes compared to white adults. And that's not just a random happening. No, that's not a random statistic. It is rooted in things like limited healthcare access, economic inequality, and systemic discrimination. And it's also not just an individual problem. It's not just about what we do, what we eat, how we live. No, it's about how the systems that are in place, which don't work the same for everyone. And so this month is about pushing for better access, for better care, and honestly, just fairness. And then there's Black Maternal Health Week. Okay, this one hits hard because the numbers are just unacceptable. Okay, Black women are 3 times more likely to die from a pregnancy-related cause than their counterparts. That is a stark revelation, okay? And it's not just, it's not because of biology. It's not because we're built different. No, it's about systemic issues, systemic racism, healthcare providers not taking Black women seriously, and honestly, just not listening. So this week is about saying enough is enough, right? Support Black mothers, support Black birthing people, hear their stories, and make sure that they get the care they deserve. So yeah, April just hits different, okay? It brings all of that stuff to the surface, and it challenges us to think about how stress, how health disparities, and how health equity all intersect, and how we have to start with awareness if we want to make things better. All right, well, now I really want to take a minute to honor all of the healers out there. And I'm not just talking about doctors or nurses. No, healing happens in many different ways. It happens in the everyday stuff, the random acts of kindness, the small quiet moments where people are showing up for each other, even when it's hard. And what I want to say to you is you are not alone. No, if you are one of those people out here doing the work, holding things together, being that steady presence for everyone else, you are not alone. And I want to start by talking to my parent friends, my care provider friends. I've been thinking about you a lot. And maybe it's because I've been thinking about my own situation as a parent. But I'm at a stage now where it's not just about taking care of my kids. It's also about preparing for the generation that has come before me and being able to support them as they are aging, right? So a lot of my peers, especially us Gen Xers and millennials who may be in that spot where we're raising families, but are also looking out for our parents, our grandparents, our aunties, our uncles, and our elders. So I have a friend who is actually right in the middle of all of this. Okay, she's caring for her mom, who is diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease and dementia. And if anyone knows anything about those conditions, you know that it is very challenging for a family. And there are some days where my friend's mom doesn't even recognize her. And at the same time, she's balancing a full-time job, her own kids, and being a care provider. And honestly, it's heavy. It's just heavy. There's a lot of grief. there's a lot of grief seeing someone that you love change like that right in front of your eyes. But she's not alone, and I tell her that all the time, right? A lot of us are out here trying to juggle both ends. We're caring for parents while they're aging, while also raising new and young families. And it is exhausting. Yes, it's okay to say that. It is exhausting, but it's also very powerful, and it can also be very transformative. So I also want to talk to my social work friends and other healthcare professionals who are also healers. Okay? So these folks, and I should say us folks, because I'm a part of this demographic as well as a social worker. So these folks are the backbone of healing. They are dedicating their professions, and I'll even say they're dedicating their lives, right, to helping people heal from physical, mental, and emotional conditions. And I'll tell you, as a social worker myself, I once worked with a client who was really struggling with their mental health, with recovering from addictions, and with other social factors such as homelessness. And it took a while. It honestly took a while for us to build trust and rapport. But eventually we did make some progress, and this person was actually able to get housed. But then one day, I found out that this person had actually had a major setback. They had a psychiatric and substance use relapse, and this person ended up in the hospital and then back on the streets. And that situation, it really hit me hard as a social worker, because in my mind, I thought we were moving forward and I thought we were making progress, right? But what it reminded me of was that sometimes, no matter how much you care, no matter how much hard work you put in, things can still fall apart. And I know I'm not the only one who has felt that, right? There are so many of us social workers out there, so many of us health professionals who are showing up, doing the work, even when it's hard. And that's what makes us healers. We don't give up on people, even when the road is rough. And we can't forget about our organizational leaders as healers either, right? Sometimes we forget that leaders in workplaces can actually be healers too. Because it's not just about running around demanding things and ordering people to do this and that, right? It's not about making all of these big decisions and focusing on productivity. It's about creating an environment and a culture where people feel supported, where people feel seen, and where people feel valued. And so a colleague of mine who started a new position as an executive director of a nonprofit organization, they started doing these wellness retreats because they realized that their staff was just completely burnt out, right? So when they and I would talk, they would tell me about how, they could just see it. They could see people were dragging. They could see that the morale was low. And it was like everybody was just running on fumes. And so they recognized that their staff needed something different. So they started running these quarterly wellness retreats. And honestly, they said that everybody wasn't on point at first, right? Everybody wasn't buying into it. Some people didn't see the point of it. Some people thought it was just another box to check off, right? But over time, it became a space where people started to be real with each other, right? And I know leaders like her may sometimes be rare, right? But leaders like her know that taking care of their people is just as important as productivity. And it's not about having all the answers to all the problems all the time. And it's not always about making everything better instantly. You can't please everyone all the time, right? Leaders are healers because they make the space for the well-being of their teams in the workplace. All right, so now you all may be wondering, why do these stories matter? And I'll tell you. They matter because they remind us that healing isn't always put together in a pretty neat package. It's not always linear. It's not always straightforward. And sometimes it doesn't even look like progress at all. No, sometimes it can feel like you are pushing a boulder up a hill. Yeah, sit with that visual for a moment. Sometimes it is hard. Sometimes it is messy. Sometimes it doesn't work out the way we had hoped. But showing up, even when it's hard, that's what makes you a healer. But the best part about it, y'all, none of us are out here doing it alone. No, there are so many of us, just like you, just like me, just like many of us who are listening, giving what we can and just trying to make a difference. So you know that I cannot just leave you with all of that, right? I can't just leave you sitting here thinking about all of that weight without giving you something practical to hold on to. No, I won't do you like that. Because I'm not only here to recognize the work that you do, but I also want to make sure that you have the tools and the resources. I want to make sure that you're prepared to keep yourself going. Because let's be real, being a healer is exhausting sometimes. It's okay to say that, right? It can be draining and it can be depleting if we are not pouring back into ourselves. So if you are one of those healers that I mentioned today, a parent, a care provider, a social worker, healthcare professional, community leader, organizational leader, or any type of healer in your own right, what I want to say to you is, here are a few things that can help you take care of yourself. There's some things that I have found helpful in my own journey and my role as a healer. And there are also some things that I've heard from other healers who were in my life, right? And so number one is take time for yourself daily. Just 5 minutes, okay? It's not a lot, but in those 5 minutes, just take some time to breathe, right? Step outside. The weather is getting nicer. It's spring. You can sit outdoors quietly. Ground yourself. And don't underestimate the power of small breaks, especially when you are juggling so much. No, healer, you deserve that moment. Number 2, build your support network, okay? Just because you are the one who is always showing up for others, that does not mean that you shouldn't have your own circle to lean on. You need your tribe. You need your village. You need to connect with like-minded people who understand your load, whether it's your colleagues or just friends who get it. Don't be afraid to share your experiences with them. Let them pour into you sometimes. Number 3, set boundaries with good intentions. Okay, and I say that because it's a critical part of setting boundaries. Sometimes we think that because we're helping, we cannot say no. And that is so far from the truth. Okay? Boundaries are essential. You cannot be everything to everyone all the time. And it's okay to take a step back and decide what it is that you need. Protect your well-being, because that is what is going to make you a better healer in the long run. Number 4, do one thing just for you, because it is so easy to get lost in what everyone else needs. But I want you to make it a priority to do one thing just for yourself. Whether it's taking a walk, listening to your favorite music, or spending time on one of your favorite hobbies. You deserve it, healer. You deserve to refill your cup. Number 5, this is a big one, and this is one that I have also dealt with, which is letting go of perfection. Okay? Yeah. One of the hardest parts about being a healer is feeling like you have to get it right every time. And if you don't get it right, then you miss the mark. But that's not true. That's all an illusion. Sometimes, despite even our best efforts, things will not go as planned. But that does not make you any less of a healer. It does not make your efforts less valuable. No. Give yourself some grace, healer, and let go of that perfectionist. And number 6, acknowledge your emotions. Yes, you are human. You are not a robot. You are not a shell. You have a soul. And sometimes the weight of helping others, it hits you in your soul. Allow yourself to feel it, whether it's sadness, whether it's grief, whether it's frustration, whether it's exhaustion. Sit with it. Honor it. And know that it does not make you weak. Process your emotions, healer, because that is what is going to make you stronger. Alrighty, so we are now coming to the end of our episode today. And I hope that this information was very impactful. I hope it helped to raise some of your awareness around the issues that we may be dealing with, both individually and collectively. And I hope that these strategies give you a little bit of relief and even a little bit of validation. You are out here doing amazing work, healer. Yes, you are amazing, even when it feels overwhelming. So let's keep supporting each other, because that's how we are going to get through it. And I want to leave you with one of my favorite quotes by one of my favorite authors, Maya Angelou, renowned poet, author, and civil rights activist who's known for her powerful messages of resilience and healing, and whose wisdom resonates with so many people. This quote speaks to the spirit of the resilience and perseverance of healers. And it says, "I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it." I'll say that again. I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it. And that was a quote from Maya Angelou. So let me hear from you. I'd love to know how you're doing. You can email me at host@carefully-speaking-podcast.com. You can also follow me on social media just to see what I've been up to, right? So next time we'll dig deeper into stress awareness. We'll talk about how to recognize it, how to cope with it, and how to support each other. So tune in next week, same time, same station, and let's keep having these real conversations. I'm Dr. Jamila, and I hope to have you back next time. Take care. Bye.